What's up, Dark Bug Kugo? Welcome, Jackie. Welcome to Simulation Talk 106. We are back. What's up, Dustin? I couldn't make the live for the last 2 days. I mean, I could have, but I felt like I'll be not helpful to anyone, including myself. What's up, Reckon1999? How are you guys? ¿Cómo estás, hermano? Welcome everybody on TikTok and Facebook and X and Twitch. We are back for another episode of Simulation Talk 106. Nice being here as well. Mindbender, good to see you. Oh, and you have a little sticker that says core. How did you get that? That's amazing. Is that something that is awesome? You should tell me, because this looks amazing. Welcome everybody. Give a couple more seconds for everybody to arrive, and then we'll dive right in. Good to see everybody. Back strong. Borsch is saying, "Hi Dan, it's me, Leo Borsch. I messaged you on Instagram about my mushroom splatter paintings. I need to send you more info on it and would love to send you a painting to stare at." Appreciate you, Borsch. Absolutely. The address would be lasersimulationx@gmail.com. Simulationx@gmail.com. It's a good opportunity to repeat that I rarely, if ever, check my social media messages. I do sometimes, like I did today, and I try to go over as many of them as I possibly could, but there's a lot of them, and I can't check so many different sources. Unfortunately, that's my email right there. Feel free to email me with whatever you would like. So if you want my attention, please email me, lasersimulationx@gmail.com. Welcome, Britannia. Welcome, everybody to Simulation Talk 106. This channel is usually revolving around simulation hypothesis. My name is Danny, and I'm claiming to have found actual proof that we live in a simulation. A few years ago, I discovered that if you project a diffracted laser on the surface and you ingest a particular molecule that I cannot really name on a live chat, you will see code running in surfaces. This observation has now been replicated over 1,000 times worldwide and has connected me with some of the leading researchers in the field. It does not mean that all of them agree with me and my conclusions, but it is an ongoing conversation that we're having, and it's an important one at that. Here on this channel, we meet here every single day, aside from the last 2 days. It happens sometimes. I just have way too many commitments, and sometimes I just can't show up. But we meet here every day to discuss the discovery, the implications, as well as science in general, religion, spirituality, philosophy, God, whatever comes to mind, we talk about it. Without further ado, let's dive in. And just a quick housekeeping to all the people on TikTok, especially if you want to see a longer format of my videos than what you see here on TikTok, you can go to my YouTube channel, which is Dango Thoughts, DANGO Thoughts, and you will see the full versions of these videos. I'm putting a lot of work into keeping them entertaining, even if they're longer. Hope you enjoy them, or you can just follow the link tree in my description. What else? That's it. Working on a documentary about the discovery, and a lot of people are asking me when it's going to be ready. I would assume in about 7 months or so. We are talking with some investors at the moment, and hopefully we'll have a full budget soon, which will allow us to work on it full time. In the meanwhile, you can check out all my content across the platforms. It's Danny Goler on TikTok and Instagram, Goler Danny on X, LaserX83 on Twitch, and Dango Thoughts on YouTube. DANGO Thoughts. Okay, I think that's all the housekeeping we need to do. Oh, one more thing. I did add a members program on YouTube recently. I think we have a few subscribers already. It will include, in addition to my daily lives, it will include private lives, and will also include private Zoom meetings with me. And I am working at the moment on content that's going to be available only for members, and I'm constantly open for suggestions and revisions as to how to make it better and more worthwhile for people. I think that's all the housekeeping we need to do. Welcome everybody, Simulation Talk 106. We're going to dive into today's chat. We'll see if we have any potential discussion points from people. There we go. And you ever been told you look like MT Joy? No idea what that is. So, no. Okay. Borges is saying... Oh, wait. We have a lot before that. On the molecule, Salty PDX saying, do you keep your eyes open or closed more often? Yeah, I don't even remember the last time I did a closed eye anything. But also, if you do enough of it, it doesn't really matter if your eyes are open or closed. You will not have any understanding that you have eyes or body or visual field. I mean, you will be seeing things, but you will have no recollection of being a human. Which means even if you have your eyes open, you will not be here. You will be somewhere else. So it makes no difference after a certain amount. But I don't remember the last time I did a closed eye trip. I think at a certain point it just kind of falls off the map for you. But maybe it's just me. You've said that aside from the code, you are convinced that we are in a simulation for other reasons. Yes. One of them is the console. The other one is the fact that I'm speaking to what seems to be the simulators. I will back up Dan's claim. I found this out independently, though my splatter paintings, I would love to provide the source to add further evidence to the pot. Absolutely, Bosch. We're open for all sources of types of evidence, and we're talking about all of them. Reckon didn't mean to send that. Yeah, well, you did, and I mean, it's okay. Dustin is saying, what is the latest progress you have made on the theory? Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of fun updates. Like I always say, I have a series of experiments that I have lined up. I'm waiting for the right opportunity to be able to just spend full-time. I think there's going to be like a period of 3 months in which I'm just going to be doing experiments, like full-time. That's my job. But we're not there yet. I think that I will have a breakthrough when I do that. How did I discover it? It's a very long story. Thank you for the question, Bakugo. That's what the documentary is going to be about. So you guys wait for the documentary and you will find out. And also the documentary will include a lot of fun other things. Let's see what we got here. What's up, Robin? Welcome, everybody. Thoughts about winter? Love it. Once took acid and saw wild hieroglyphics in the clouds. Yeah, a lot of people reported seeing a lot of things in the sky. It is kind of hard to say if some of these visuals are actually what you would call hallucinations, but some of them are clearly not. What do we usually discuss? We usually discuss the simulation hypothesis, and I'm claiming that I found actual proof that we live in a simulation in April. Question everything is saying, can you tell us more about the machine that you see in the middle of the room, the server thing? I call it the console, and like I said, I'm working on a new video about it, so it will all the new information is going to be in the video. How do the simulators manifest themselves? There's a lot. How are you, Sergio? Good to see you here. There's a lot of different layers to what you would call the simulation, but the truth is that at bottom, the claim is not that there's real worlds and then there's simulated worlds. The claim is that everything is computational. That's like everything across the board. And then what we call the real world is basically just a subset of the much larger space, which we think of as real. But it is just one slice of reality. And in the context of a much larger computational space, you can call those simulations. They're like slices of the larger reality. Of course, this subject is a lot more complicated and complex as well, and requires some deep dives into what computation actually means, and what consciousness really means, which, of course, at the moment we don't have the first shred of ideas. And but that's the deeper claim. And how they manifest themselves, I think that the deepest truth is that even the highest civilizations in the universe don't really know why everything exists. I also think this is actually one of the reasons that they're running all the simulations to try and figure that out. But really good to see that you're coming for the lives. I appreciate you. If you would like, I don't want to put you on the spot, but you're welcome to come on and we can chat also as well. I can pull you up. Let me know if you're interested. God loves you too. Ghent in gospel. El Bundy is saying, whose handle is brains, you should go to Joe Rogan. This topic should get more attention. I appreciate you, and I think it will happen at some point. Have you thought about adding a 3D laser, a third laser? A third laser to do what with? Vicky is saying. Thank you for the comment, but I didn't quite understand what is the usage of the third laser, if you want to clarify. Oh yeah, the other chat is on YouTube, and also X and Twitch, but mostly YouTube. How can we participate in the study of yours? At the moment, I'm not really conducting a study, but more disseminating information. You can go to codeofreality.com, and you have all the information of what you need there, including the protocol and the types of lasers you can get on Amazon, or you can get one that we make. But all you need really is what it says, so you can just copy the specs and buy it anywhere you want. And the protocol is on the website. So once again, it's codeofreality.com. It also lists my email. You can contact me directly. Buy a laser, do it on your own. I cannot wait to do it next trip. Oh, there you go, Levy. Do you consider yourself a god? I think it's a loaded question. Do you consider yourself a god? What is this? I'm not sure what you mean. That's too general of a question, but if you ask a more specific question, I'm happy to answer. Where am I from? I am from Mars. Warf. Nice. What do I think about dreams? I don't know. They are dreams. How do I hack my code so that I can be rich? You work hard and you get rich. If the spirit molecule does what it does, couldn't we hypothetically experience without it? You mean the code? You mean because our brain makes it? I think you need more of it than what your body makes. That's my hypothesis. We're all in consciousness of God. People just forget. Sure. I mean, that's why one way of describing it. How many levels are there in heaven? I don't know. Can I see the code of mushrooms? You can, yeah. You're going to need a lot more than what you usually do. I mean, you need to start kind of doing like more of heroic doses, like 3.5 grams and more. I think you said you only see the code with 2 refracted lasers stacked. What if you add a third? Oh, no, that was not the proposition, Vicky. Is you just need 1 laser, and it needs to be diffracted, not refracted. I did say refracted in my first video, and that's a mistake I made. But it needs to be diffracted first. If you refract it through a glass of water, it helps to see it. But 1 diffracted laser is good enough. As long as you're on the molecule, you will see the code. Thanks for the email reply. I got the gear listed and am going to try. You got it, Parker. I'm excited to hear what your results are. Would you consider yourself a stick in the mud? No. Did we have it at some point? Do we have what at some point? The molecule? You mean the amount required to see the code? I don't think so. I think we're evolving in one direction. I personally don't buy the idea that people used to be more enlightened, more advanced. I know a lot of people here will probably disagree with me on that, but I don't think so. I think we are the most advanced humans to have ever walked the face of the earth. And I think that's okay. Something tells me maybe people think that because there's something scary about admitting your powers. So humility is important, but I think also admitting responsibility is also important. And I think if we keep saying to ourselves that we're just terrible, as long as we say that, we feel like we're off the hook with what we actually have to do, which is to take responsibility for the powers that we have. Maybe I'm misreading it, but something tells me that it's much more likely that humans do that because of that, to kind of throw off the scent of the fact that they know that deep inside they're also greedy, and selfish, just like everything else in nature. And it's an uncomfortable truth to reckon with. I want to invent a welder that uses water as fuel, then make a blimp using water to make hydrogen. Sounds amazing and sounds like you would help humanity. So you should definitely go ahead and do that. You got it, Vicky. Fernstick in the mud was my nickname in high school. I see. What are we seeing the codes in? Yeah, diffracted laser, and you have to ingest a particular molecule to see it. That's the proposition. Shanti Thompson. Also, I love your profile picture. You look very dope. You look like you're a lot of fun to hang out with. Levy is saying Thompson. Oh. Oh, there you go. Continue an invite. You think recorded history is accurate? I think it's more accurate than assumptions that have no evidence. I'm sure it's incomplete. Yes, I'm so afraid to step into what I deep down know is there. Yep. Grappling with our shadows, as many of us probably are aware here, is a very important thing to do. And in fact, without that, we're just pretending. And at some point, we're going to have to learn these lessons anyway. So it's better to reckon with the truth early. I was raised a preacher's kid. I'm not supposed to believe in superpowers and things beyond Bible. I can understand, Shanti. Glad you agree. What do you think of Easter Island? It's a loaded topic, but if I have to be honest, I don't know enough to really voice a real opinion. That's the truth. I know I'm familiar with the claims about it, but I don't know enough to actually say something that I think will be valuable. So I'll try not to say anything. Okay. Oh, okay. I was trying to find where we were. Hopefully you can find my paintings here. I will send you more in email, but for anyone that wants to try it, the painting is made for experiments. So Boris, just so you know, it's not showing it to you on your side, but we don't see anything you posted here as a link. It doesn't allow you to send hyperlinks here. So we can't see it, what you're saying, unfortunately. You can maybe type in an address or URL or something, or you can, what's the other solution? You can email me some of them and I can maybe show them here in some form. Evan, how are you? Saying, what's up, Danny? I've heard you talk about the choice between knowledge or love. Can you elaborate on this? Yes, it's a deep subject. Let me see if I have enough energy today, but if I find it in me today, I'll touch on that. What is keeping me from going full time? Well, still got to pay the bills. So I still have to do work. I'm an editor and I'm a director and DOP. So I have a lot of different hats that I wear. And the truth is that I'm also kind of waiting for the right moment. I feel like the moment is near. But when you go into these experiments, it takes a lot out of you if you do it a lot. So, but I think I've been preparing for a long time and soon it will happen. Thank you for the question. You've said in another video that you are convinced, aside from the laser, that... Oh, wait. You already said that. Oh, this is a more complete version of the question. Okay. You said in another video that you are convinced, aside from the laser, that we are in a simulation. But you didn't want to go into that at the time. Is there a video where you do? No, I go into it quite a bit. It's just that these are long subjects, so it kind of takes some time to break them down, and I don't always have the energy to go into that breakdown for like 30 minutes. But the short answer is that the reason is because there's a lot of different data points, which are the breakdown that I have to do if I want to kind of make it more salient for people. And everything together makes it the most plausible explanation, considering what the words actually mean. Pyramids in the clouds, shapes in the sand, the gravel, the paint texture. Terence McKenna called it the lotus. Not sure what Terence called the lotus, and I'm familiar very well with what Terence used to say. Do you mean the chrysanthemum? How do the simulators manifest themselves? Oh, the same question? Same question. I have a laser projector which makes up 100 up to 100 lasers. People use them for their Christmas lights outside. Look up laser projector. I used it to experience a similar effect. Please don't try this at home, folks. This is way too powerful. Yeah, I wouldn't use something that powerful. But it sounds awesome. Borch is saying past humans may have had a connection to psychedelics that we have lost. Actually, they definitely did and still do. But they did not have UFOs. But they didn't have UFOs. Where can one get the molecule? Can't help you there. Anyone think this simulation is based on a version of hell? I don't know. I'm having a blast a lot of the times. This is a pretty wonderful place, or it can be. I saw a video the other day, but I forgot to save it. Do you remember the guy with the psychedelic channel that was trying to debunk your theory? Have you had any more communication with him? You're talking about Rob? He's actually a very nice guy. I don't know if he was trying to debunk. He was skeptical, which I completely understand. I know he was on a soul-searching journey, and he was going through a lot of personal things in the last year. We spoke a few months ago, and he was very down to talk again. So we will at some point. We actually recorded a conversation he never released yet. I hope he will. It was a good conversation. What did I get from his criticism? You mean what I thought his intentions were? Is that what you mean? Does temperature affect the code? No, but it's a really interesting question, Perplexed, because what I've learned, first from someone and then I tested it, is that the molecule responds to temperature, apparently. So if you want something to last really fast, you don't want it to last for too long, you want to do the molecule in a warmer environment. If you do it in somewhat of a chilly environment, it will last a lot longer. Not sure why this effect is there, but it's a really interesting question. Let's see what we have on TikTok. Oh, thank you so much, Simply Fiona. I appreciate you. That's always such a nice comment. Fiona said I have kind eyes, which I always appreciate because sometimes when I'm too exhausted, I feel like my eyes kind of like die out. So, and I maybe look a little jaded, which saddens me because I'm not jaded inside. But I appreciate that. That makes me feel good. The documentary will be released in about 7 months or so. Thank you, Lily Noah. Appreciate you. I'm trying to go back to see what the beginning of the first comments that I missed on TikTok, and apparently there's quite a bit. Don't you think saying to a mountain to move and it moves is a superpower? Hello, Simfam. Have you ever saw the mechanical like elves? When in a trip, I saw them once. They helped me. Amazing. Yeah, I've seen a lot of different things in there. It's kind of hard to say what is what was what. Oh, they helped you become a vegetarian. I see. Thoughts on Anunnaki on Nephilim? No, I don't have any. Sorry. If you shaved your beard, you would have a sweat for Manchu. A sweet for Manchu. Sorry, that went over my head. I guess I'm too dumb. I'm trying to, guys, so just so you know, I'm trying to look for comments that I can technically engage with. Because if it's like simple questions like, have you ever looked through the veil, or have you ever seen this creature? There's not much I can do with that. Filmmaker. Yeah, I am a filmmaker. I have video of spaceship and energy source. I don't know what to call it in my life has changed. Wait, I have video of a spaceship and energy source. What kind of energy source? Do you think it would be possible to camp up? Jumped on me. Do you think it would be possible to capture the code in holographic film? Great question. Great question. I think we are looking back at the source that projects us as the hologram, or we are the reference light. Our consciousness is the reference light that creates the hologram. I'm not sure. Hello. Whoa. Someone said, and I know the government is probably watching me, and you probably won't see my text. Sounds like you're super important, huh? It's not visible to the normal eye, hence why I take the molecule. It's unbelievable. A person that has brew footage, people don't listen to them. They only cherry pick. Sorry, I don't know what that means. If someone were electrocuted, I bet they'd see it. That's hilarious, but not funny. Does the code change if you put like a piece of paper in front of it? No. They've been coming to my house for at least since I paid attention for years now. And Bigfoot is in the shadow of being put. He was there. Good talk. They are so dark. Such a deepness to those eyes. They're not that dark. They're kind of like green, hazel green. All loaded all my footage photo to YouTube. Okay. All right. Do you think we were meant to find this code, or if this is something we weren't meant to find? As far as I understand, this was never a secret. It's just a matter of understanding it. And in fact, I asked very directly in the beginning before I started talking about it, and there was an encouragement. Also, I think that if they wanted it completely undiscoverable, it would be. I made you laugh. My job is complete. I laugh. What are you talking about? I laugh all the time. But yeah, I don't remember what was it that you said that made me laugh, but if you did, I'm happy you did. So the code is the space, not the object. Possibly, Houston. That's a really good distinction. I think you're correct. Okay, let's go to YouTube for a little bit. Whoa. Bosch saying, I sent to Danny. You can find the images in my website. I too feel the drain from the experiments. I would love to help you finish this off. Now that sounded dirty. I'm not sure that there's an end to the process. I appreciate it, by the way. I'm always open to all kinds of people who want to come in and help. But I'm saying that I don't think there's an end point. I think this is just more and more understanding, just like it always was. Do you make any changes or modify your protocols? Not yet. Do you think we are in a simulation? Quick overview I'm new here. Thank you for the very direct question. Yes, I do. The idea is not new. The idea dates all the way back to, well, probably to a very long time ago, but as far as I know, as far as we know, Plato in the cave, that's the idea of the simulation. Wheeler, it from bit. So the idea is definitely not new, and there's really good reasons at this point, from pure physics perspective, to considering the holographic principle and the fact that we actually live in some kind of a simulated environment. But I'm actually claiming that I found actual proof that people can utilize to test that we actually do live in a simulation, and there's a way to communicate with these beings that it's much more, I guess, replicable. That would be the main reason. But that's the general overview. And the experiment that I've a few years ago discovered works is that if you project a diffracted laser on the surface and ingest what people call the spirit molecule, you will see code running in surfaces, and it is completely repeatable. You can do this, anybody can do this, and you will see the same thing. Focus on Life is saying, I have a theory. I've watched many podcasts that you did regarding your laser experiment, and the specific way you need to focus to see it. I might know a way that can help people that can't see it. That will be extremely valuable. Focus on Life. I would really love to hear what you have to say. And if you don't want to say here, please feel free to email me. The email is appearing on the screen. I would love to get your email. I remember he was saying it's not proof of being in a simulation, but just proof that the molecule is amazing. And I think you were talking about not being able to double blind tests. So what more? Wait. Oh, you're talking about Rob, right? I remember he was saying it's not proof of being in a simulation, but just proof that the molecule is amazing. And I think you were talking about not being able to do double blind tests. So what more? I don't know. I don't. Is your question what I've learned about how people think about it from the criticism that Rob was saying? Is that the real question? Are there any type of diffraction lenses that widen the spread, or have you attempted anything that increases the surface area of the visible code structure? Great questions today, guys. Thank you. Perplexed. Curved surfaces really help. So if you just project it on a curved surface, you will see a wider version of it, which is, by the way, very interesting for many reasons. Also, you have my permission to show the paintings if you would like to. Also, maybe sometime I can tell you about them a bit more in depth, and we can talk about the code and the chrysanthemum. That sounds amazing. Thank you. Evan is saying, in what forms do entities manifest themselves the most? Do you think they are actually insectoids, or just choose to show themselves like that? Do you think they have control over how they choose to look? These are great questions, Evan. The honest answer is that I have no idea. They seem to insist on these shapes. So maybe there's something functionally better about these shapes in higher dimensional spaces. I'm not sure. But these are great questions. I truly don't know. You're asking all the right questions. I would assume that in an infinitely informational space, if you're not that tethered to a particular shape, you can basically choose any shape you want, and that would make more sense to me. But some of them just insist. It looks like there's an ecosystem of insectoids. How do you say that? Insectoids? Anyways, you know what I mean. So, I don't know. I'm not sure. But these are truly the correct questions to ask. Along the correct lines, I would say. Type of diffraction. Oh, sorry, man. Can you do on the scientific method? Can I? Sorry, Max. My brain is a little tired, so any question is kind of either misspelled or incomplete like this. I'm trying to understand exactly what you're asking, and I maybe have an idea of a ballpark, but I prefer if you reiterate. So it's easier for me to answer exactly what you're asking. Daniel is asking, I am interested in what happens when the molecule wears off. Have I looked at it as long until it wears off? Yes, that's exactly what would happen. Fun fact, I had a couple of tokes. Dmitry left the planet like a pinball, landed in a gigantic rave disco inferno on a space station with a couple of 10 feet humanoids with ant heads. That sounds amazing. Does it fade away? Yes. Great music, by the way, and those aliens had some great one-liners. I nearly pissed my pants laughing. The same crude humor as the tykes in normal molecule space. Thank you for sharing, Mikkel. Daniel is saying, why does it not work with bigger, stronger red laser on a larger scale? Not that it doesn't work, it will damage your cornea, is my point. Anything above 5 million watts with too much output will eventually, there will be enough photons coming back in a way that will actually do some eye damage. That's why. If you shine the laser onto a mirror, then a surface, does the code reflect? It's a great question. I don't know. I haven't tried that. That's a great question. One of the most fascinating things about coherent light is its ability to produce highly precise and controlled interference patterns. That is correct. It was so cringe, the psychonaut you talked to, he never did the laser experiment and called you a bullshitter. He never called me a bullshitter, maybe not, at least not to my face. And I mean, with all my conversations with him outside of the chats, he was always very nice. I think he's just healthily skeptical. And from what he did try eventually the laser, and he said it's very interesting. He said that he doesn't think it's outside of the bounds of what he would think is possible, but he said, I will admit that it's very interesting, so let's keep this conversation open. That was the final interaction on that. Did he come back to you? Did he try it? Yeah, oh yeah, so that's my answer to that. What do you think of the trickster archetype? Well, I think it makes sense to me as to why they would be considered some of the highest beings, because I think that in order to occupy higher states, you have to understand that everything at the bounds of existence merges into one thing, and then it's not really clear what's light, what's dark, what's joke, what's not a joke, you know? I think that's why. It's their ability to occupy both states at the same time, of serious and not serious. The chat has a limit on characters. I was asking if you found a better way to follow the scientific method to prove your hypothesis. I mean, I don't know. I mean, always trying to, follow as much of the scientific method as possible, but I'm also expanding the idea that the scientific method actually includes elements in it that people don't realize it includes. For example, intuition is a huge part of it, and people think it has to do with some ways in which their brain just arranges information. I don't think that's true. I think there's a much deeper thing operating there. I think people very often get their ideas from hyperspace and they think it's their idea when it was not. So since light is connected with sound, it would be interesting to experiment with certain sound frequencies and its reflections. So first of all, I'm not really sure where people are getting that, or at least from the perspective of regular physics. Light is not necessarily connected with sound. They're all frequencies. How are you, love middle? Oh, great. We have a new member. Appreciate you. And what was I saying? Oh, light. Right. So if you mean that radio waves are light waves, you're correct. But radio waves are not sound waves. There's different things. Sound is waves in the air, so it's just air pressure. And light is quite a different thing. It's waves in the electromagnetic field. You can say that frequencies in they're universal in nature, which is true, but the only way, at least again from standard physics point of view, the only way that sound would interact with light is through the medium of matter, which we can talk about, but it's not that the link is not that direct as people think. Everything in reality is bound by mathematics, and ultimately the argument is that these patterns, code, etc. are emergent properties of reality. Mathematics visible from the spirit molecule. I would say the mathematics is a language that we use. If you're talking about mathematical logic, then what you're talking about is relational values of some sort. And I guess, sure, at the bottom you can call them mathematics, but I think sticking words on things and saying this is what it is it can't possibly be the answer, because the real thing is truly unspeakable. So since light is connected with, all of these are just basically symbolic approximations we use, words we attach to things, but they're not the real thing. It's the truth. Have you listened to Harold Coates' Villa? It sounds familiar, but I can't place it. Hold on. Harold Coates' Villa. No, but he looks interesting. Thank you. I'll definitely check him out after the live. Thank you, Kimi. Or, sorry, Kim. Let me see what we got here. Now I'm wondering whether you know what you're talking about or just fake. I don't know if you're talking about me, but, and also I wouldn't know what you would be referring to when you're saying that, but maybe it's something previous comments. I have no idea. So again, guys on TikTok, when I'm going back to the comments, it's kind of hard for me to know if you're talking to me or somebody else who commented. So I'm just going to go through all of these and see. Can I speak a little about the retreat? Thank you, Lovey Whittles. At the moment, we don't have a date or anything. The second I will definitely drop some news about it. And yeah. But the best way to keep being updated on it, did you ever email me? I do, and today I was going through a bunch of emails. I was finally returning emails after a long time, and I haven't gotten to all of them. There's so many, but I think I got to October 21st. There were so many emails. It was crazy. I mean, I feel grateful that people are so interested, but it was just so many emails. I think the latest emails that I haven't responded to were from October 4th, I think. But if you do feel like you emailed me and I haven't responded since, if you email me again, what I do is at least the latest emails, I respond to them first. Because at least that way, now that I have time, I'm not, these are not waiting. So if you feel like you want my answer quicker, right now there's a little bit of there's less emails a little bit for a while. This is a good opportunity for you to email me if you want, also to be updated about the retreat. Because that way I'm just putting you on a list and I know that person is interested, and I will email you immediately when we know the retreat is there. So lasersimulationx@gmail.com, and I am responding to my emails. So a lot more than I respond to any personal messages on any social app. So if you email me, I will definitely remind you first. lasersimulationx@gmail.com. Lavi Whittles. Thank you for the question. But the truth is that there's not much to say until we have one lined up. Because then I will know the details of what we're planning for it. Let's see. What's an important thought lesson you have had from this discovery? I mean, that reality is not what I thought it was. How are you, Crow? Was that collective yawn? Because I know I didn't. It was definitely a collective yawn. Do you think we were meant to find the code? Wait, you asked that question. Or maybe I just went way back. Oh, yeah, I went way back. Okay. Could the code be sound? Not very likely, no. I think the code is space-time itself. Well, to say that something is vibration, Shanti, I know this is, it sounds like you're asking from kind of a more spiritual perspective, and I respect that. But saying that something is frequency, it's kind of, I think it's a category mistake. So frequency is an oscillation of something, of a medium of a sort. So if you're saying frequency, you can't say pure frequency. I mean, you can say the words, but it doesn't mean much. So like pure frequency, I don't know what that means. Something has to be wiggling for it to be a frequency. Have you ever had the experience where you've seen something and fast forward? Oh, all the time, yeah. DMT does this all the time. I'm not supposed to say that word. They're gonna flag us for sure. The molecule does this all the time. Which is kind of wild. I've seen half of the room in fast forward and half of the room not. I don't even know how that's possible. It's so wild. Like it literally accelerated half of the people in the room and the other half were not accelerated. I don't even know how it computes all of that. It's crazy. Can we manipulate the simulation? I don't know yet, but maybe. What is VMAT 2, Kimmy? Oh, I keep saying reading Kimmy when it's Kim. Apologies. Oh, wait. Are you the guy who did the laser experiment and saw code? Me and 1,000 other people, yeah. At this point. So you're about science and quantum physics. I'm about knowledge. Can we manipulate the simulation to make a better life? Hopefully. Did I figure out what the words were? Which words? You mean the code? Are we insectoids? Maybe we are. I'm like a scientific Lionel Messi. I'll take it. Messi is the GOAT. What happens when we dream? Since we're in a simulation, our dreams do reality over the simulations. I understand the question simply, Fiona, but again, the proposition is not that we're stuck in the computer software and that this is fake and then there's some kind of real reality. I understand the confusion because the word simulation sounds like it automatically means fake, but the proposition is that the world is computational, and in that context, the real world, and in that context, simulation just means a slice of reality. So it's not like it's fake, which means that all the content, including dreams and everything else, would be included in the simulation. Light and sound are linked by both following the octave principle. I see what you're saying. That is true. There's a deep connection between the way that the color wheel works and the octave wheel works. You're correct. There's a deeper relationship there of harmonies. So I agree with that. I think, though, that in order to substantiate that in a way that can truly matter, we have to show that in practical terms. But I take your correction. That is correct what you're saying. Like in a TV series, Lost, our dreams could be flashed sideways. I love the poetic nature of this comment. Thank you. Einstein was looking into a theory called spooky theory. What is a spooky theory? Which documentary? Wait, you're talking about our documentary? Our documentary is only going to be ready in about 7 months or so. Maybe a little less, maybe a little more. trying to find the comments that. Yeah, Donald Hoffman is actually one of the first people that I reached out to a few years ago when I just discovered this. Okay. We are the code. Yes, we are. Simply Fiona is saying. Oh, I think you're talking about the documentary. Is it a simulation but not a computer simulation? No, it is. It's a computational rendered environment. That's what is meant by the simulation. Sounds like you agree with Professor Donald Hoffman about the nature of reality. Yes, absolutely. Spooky theory usually refers to quantum physics. I mean, sure, people can refer to it as that, but it's definitely not called that. You mean spooky action at a distance? Is that what you're referring to? So that's not it's not a spooky theory. It's called. It was dubbed as an endearment term. It was called spooky action at a distance, and it was referring to entanglement in quantum mechanics. But there's no such thing as spooky theory in physics. I lucid dream very often. It is definitely something else. Very lifelike. Feels like another world. Thank you for sharing, Ray. Yeah, I'm trying to get. Wait. What is happening? Okay, doesn't want to go down. Great. What is going on? It doesn't allow me to lower the profile. All right. Einstein talked about spooky action at a distance, referring to entanglement. Yep, exactly. There's a frequency machine called Spooky 2, like Rife machine. Interesting. Yes, it does, but Einstein had a foundation of the physics. Apparently, he was gifted. So, yeah. So, it's funny. So, Einstein's theories, the field equations, special and general relativity, they kind of implied quantum physics actually. But Einstein really didn't like the idea that nature will not be precise but a probabilistic theory. So he didn't like it much, and he never accepted it till the day he died. Spooky action at distance is just something that people kind of say a little bit about, yeah, entanglement, but there's no such thing as spooky physics or theory. Well, if you really think about it, is that not what life really is? I guess it is. I'm telling you, quantum physics is the way to go. Actually, it's the way to go back because look at you. Have you heard of the company named Singularity Net? They released an AGI. Maybe something. Look at the people that came before us. The feats, the magnificent shit that they built. I mean, we're going to space, so don't sell us so short. Okay. All right, I'm going back to YouTube. Oh, my mom is here. Hey, Mom. My mom is saying it's important to get all these points of view. We get another world. Hey, be nice to my mom. See you later, buddy. All right. We have Was wondering if you about our wait, what is that one? Oh, there's a lot of comments. Let me go back. It could be visualization of the substrate of reality. Basically what I'm kind of assuming about it. Black goo. He's a nice fellow, not the sharpest knife in my drawer. But I like the dude. Who are we referring to? What is black goo? I don't know what that is. Gravity affects the code. I think the code codes for gravity, but I don't have a way to know, of course. I'm still wondering if it is a trick coming from hyperspace that makes you do this measurements of the matrix so it keeps manifesting. I mean, you can explain anything that way, right? It appears the way it appears, so you keep doing what you're doing. My friend, I woke up in the middle of the night and this was on my phone. How did you get my YouTube? How did you get my YouTube? Vince, but I'm glad you're here. I was wondering if you know about Arche. Why is that so familiar? Start using an AI agent to manage your workflow regarding your emails. It will speed up the process. I am using one. It's just that there was a giant flow of emails. Enormous. So it was very difficult to keep up with. Jason Brasher. What is this channel? I was looking up things about the dark web and found this when I woke up. Nice. Well, Vince, you're in the right place. My name is Danny, and I'm claiming that I found actual proof that we live in a simulation. I discovered a few years ago that if you project a diffracted laser on the surface and you ingest a particular molecule, you will see code running in surfaces. And this is now replicated over 1,000 times worldwide. Maybe that's why you found my channel. It's interesting that that's what it suggested to you, but I'm glad you're here. Focus on Life emailed me. Awesome. The Golden Mine card saying, do you play Minecraft? No. What is your favorite block in Minecraft? No. No, I don't know enough about it. I know it's great. I heard it's amazing. I heard it with sound going fast forward and then go halftime. Just woke up and this was played on my phone. Amazing. Wait, automatically? One thing that's very interesting is that I have also experienced shared consciousness similar to telepathy on these substances where one's thoughts become more fluid with others. Yeah, I've heard this is actually pretty common on Aya, for example. Does the quality of spirit molecule affect the code? No, code is always the same, which is interesting. It's simple. You need to find the core of what they were, follow their temporal aura. Interesting. Professor James Gates discovered computer code and mathematics to describe the reality. Was an error correcting code that's found in a web browser. Maybe you're seeing that code. Few words on that. It is correct that Professor James Gates discovered what seems to be error correcting codes at the core of equations in string theory. However, you might want to add that at the moment, most of mainstream physicists that are not string theorists consider string theory to not be describing our world. I've actually just recently watched conversation with Leonard Susskind on the Theories of Everything podcast with Kurt Jaimungal, which is an incredible channel, and I highly recommend to follow it. The TOE podcast, the Theories of Everything podcast. And Leonard Susskind was one of the founders of string theory. He's also the he's not the founder of the holographic principle, but he is one of the biggest popularizers and the people who worked on it. And he was criticizing string theory heavily, mostly because it operates in anti-de Sitter space, and we seem to live in de Sitter space. So it's incompatible. So even though James Gates did discover that seems to be what looks like error correcting codes at the core of these equations, he himself personally does not believe this means we live in a simulation, which is important to mention that. He thinks it's much weirder than that. And it is string theory, which seems to not be describing our world, but some other world. Does that mean that there is no other world that follows these rules? No, it does not. It might be the case. But I think these are important things to mention if we're going to mention James Gates. Jim Gates is a conundrum. He refuses to take his own finding a dinko as serious as the possible alternative to simulation. Well, no, I think he follows the logic, which is that unless you have other proof to corroborate this, is not enough to take that on board. I'm totally on board with that. I don't think anybody imagined in their lifetime, including myself, that we will have any direct, tangible proof in our lifetime. And yet here we are. So I completely understand that attitude, by the way, Mikhail. But I appreciate the defending of the hypothesis. I think one big question nobody answers with simulation theory is not the code of reality, but they want to know what reality runs on a computer. I argue that God could also simulate reality. Sure. I mean, there's no it's kind of hard to make distinctions there. Color is a scientific experiment which can be concretely evaluated. Yes. Hello, it's Daniel from high school. What's up, Daniel from high school? Hey, Mom. Hey, Mom, you have a great son. I made it, Mom. Thank you, Mikhail. What is the human teeth parade? I don't know. Why are all the socks purple? And why is the human teeth parade being projected in my head? That's because you pressed the green button. What does that mean? Lavi Whittles joined. And she's now a member. And I love the name. Have you tried anything with magnetism? Yes, magnetism seems to be the only thing that is actually making the code somewhat go a little haywire. Trump and Biden for unlocking the matrix. Now that's amazing. Do you see the code in dreams where you sleep? No, but I did hear about a lot of people that do. Am I on Discord? Kami Karma. Yes, we have a Discord. If you email me to lasersimulationx@gmail.com, I'll send you the invite link. lasersimulationx@gmail.com. Okay, you are using AI to enter email. That's good to know because I, for a second, thought I understood my messages but answered discrete. Just machine blindness. No, I'm not using AI to enter emails. I'm using AI to go over emails. So sometimes if the email is too long, I would use AI. I'm using Superhuman, the email service, and they have a great AI that basically helps you summarize the email real quick. So I understand what the bullet points are if I have to go deeper into each and every one of them. Because sometimes people would basically spend 3 paragraphs telling me about a particular being they saw, and as much as I would love to engage, I have hundreds of emails and I can't read every single one account of all the types of beings. That's it's untenable. Will I play Minecraft? Maybe one day. String theory is dead. Well, it might be describing a higher world. Who knows? But it's definitely it's having its issues, it seems. Have you tried using magnetism to affect the code? Yes. It seems to be the only thing that scrambles the code. This is why I'm thinking about using powerful magnets to see if they make a difference. Wait. Wonder if you can see the code from a natural molecule dump, breath work, and no sleep deprivation and other techniques that work. Very curious. Great question. Breath work didn't work for me, but lack of sleep did. I've seen the console a few times when I was really sleep deprived. Let's not get carried away, Mom. It's not. It's that's embarrassing. Hey Jamie, how are you? Can't ever sleep. Been going down this rabbit hole you created. Thank you. Tell everyone at work about it. It drives me nuts. Well, I hope in a good way. How many people admit saying it yet? I know of at least 1,000, but I'm pretty sure that at this point there's a lot that I don't know. Please don't call me Neo. Does the code have good libraries for concurrency, or is it generally single thread? That's funny. A lot of redundancy. A lot of strange loops. Magnetism makes the code go way haywire. You need to explain. When you project it on a magnet, it seems to be the only thing that makes the code go versus the way that it usually moves. I've never seen it do anything else but move the way it does, aside from on a magnet. My friend thinks it's just wave you see. We can't prove that we live in a simulation. The answer to that is a little bit complicated, but your friend needs to see it for themselves. After they see it, if they say the same thing, then I would love to hear what they have to say. Is it more like machine language or high level? That's a hard question. That's a good question. I don't know. I think it's the code is so sophisticated that when you put it on something, it actually codes for the functionality of that thing. So you don't have to put it into like a command chain. You literally can put it directly into an environment, and it will manifest the function in the environment. Does that answer the question? Do I think movement exists? Depending on what you look at, how you look at what you call movement. I love that you are so open with conversation, that you are genuine when reading questions and understanding your followers' points of view. I so hope the trolls won't change that. Love you, Whittles. I appreciate you. That's such a kind comment. And I hope so too. I found the other day, by the way, this thank you for that comment, because it made me just think of something. So I have a confession to make. So when in the last couple of days, because I didn't do the live because I was way too tired, I could technically show up. I already got used to showing up even when I'm really tired, so it wasn't like I couldn't. I felt like the night before I was already very tired. I had a lot of tasks before, and it was very late. I think it was like 3 a.m. and somebody came on, and some people that are here remember this. And then he started asking if I'm an atomist, and I didn't even know what it was. And I think because I was so tired, and also it's much easier to get irritable when you're tired, I later realized that the reason that comments of that flavor bother me, and they shouldn't, but the reason they do is because I think what people don't realize that especially when they reiterate what somebody else said, right? It starts kind of getting this like very cultish vibe. And I don't know why, but that triggers me. And that's because when you're putting things in a bin, these definitions, you're essentially downgrading them to what you think reality is. So you're taking your tiny, 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 tiny piece of the world, and you're blowing it up to the size of the universe, and you're saying, are you any of these things that I'm thinking? And then you're basically demanding that things conform to whatever you think reality might be, when reality itself is infinite in its scope, and all of these words that we have, even the most robust theories in physics, they're just approximations of what the real thing is. So the humility is always on the side of, I don't really know what it is, but if you explain what you mean by what you say, we can talk about what is the meaning behind what we're trying to say. And that's the reason I didn't come to the last two lives, because I felt like if I'm in that state where I can't really think through the subject, because I can take us through these ideas and show that there's actually no need to fold anything or anyone into these like super, super simple labels, that can actually help the world. But if I can't think through that in real time, and I just kind of get triggered by it, then I'm not really doing anyone service, and I'm really not then doing the live for the reasons that I wanted to do it. I wanted to do it, like you said, to engage with people, understand their perspectives, understand what my followers actually care about versus the things that I think they might care about. So aside from the very selfish reason that it actually helps me produce content that people like more, it also allows me to connect with people more and feel like I'm contributing more. So yeah, and I'm definitely really trying my best to try and entertain as many points of view as possible. And the ones that I know that don't lead anywhere, I'm trying my best to also be understanding that we all have a way we arrived at the place that we're at. And I think that I realize that it's all about seeing, like, we all want certain attitudes expressed in the world. And it's only the attitudes that we're familiar with, or the ones that are close to what we want to be or expressed in the world, are the ones that we're cool with, and we're less cool with the ones that we're not cool with. And what's funny is that sometimes people can express the exact same idea, but if they express it in a style and in a way that the other person is not appreciating, even if the information is correct and along the lines of the same information that people like to hear, they would still not agree with it, just because I guess the way that people express things, it signals also what other kinds of ideas they tend to probably express. So there's a lot of very kind of subliminal communication there, and I think that explains the division in politics and in all of the other ideas. And by the way, this is not just in these spaces. It's in any space where there's an affirmation or an assertion or an idea, which is really everything. And it's funny because at least in some spaces, people understand that they're there to, push against each other in a healthy way. I think the problem begins when people start to believe that whatever it is that they think or know, or the way they come in the world, is somehow superior to all the other ways. Then it becomes problematic because they don't allow for any other ideas to compete in a way that is healthy. They become totalitarian, which, by the way, it also applies a lot. I don't know why this is happening, and it's a little discouraging to me, to be quite honest, but I see this a lot in the spiritual world, and that's why I talk about this a lot. It's not that the scientific world does not have its problems. Of course it does. But in the scientific world, there's no confusion about the fact that we are exchanging ideas and we disagree with each other to get to a better place together. I don't know what is this trend, but in the spiritual world, I see, and I'm surrounded by a lot of these people. I see this very, very robust trend of just like making all these crazy assertions that you can't possibly know about the ultimate existence, and then somehow claiming superiority because you feel you have intuition. I mean, this is a very unhealthy way of describing or talking about the world, because you're not allowing other ideas to compete. But I realized something about myself, that as a communicator of a sort, I always want to try and occupy the center as much as I possibly can. And in days where I feel like I really can't because my mood is too off, or I'm too, on edge, I prefer to just, I started the daily live also as a challenge to prove to myself that I can be here all the time and show up for something. And I proved it to myself, so I don't really need to prove it so much anymore. So I do feel that if I am showing up at a particular mood, I'm doing people a disservice. So I'm glad I could make that distinction. And yeah, like with everything else, I'll always do better. And I appreciate that comment, Love You Widows, because A, it makes me happy, and B, I think it was important for me to say all of that, because I want in the end to develop a trend and to maybe make it more fashionable to talk in a way in which we can speak with conviction, but at the same time listen and say, hey, well, okay, that makes sense actually. And it's okay to spin on a dime and go like, oh, I didn't think of that. There's nothing wrong with that. And I think it makes communication a lot more beautiful and better. So thank you for that comment. What will happen when Minecraft servers are all taken over by AI? I have no idea. All right. Just to make it clear to everybody, on these threads, on my chats, everything is allowed, and you get to talk to everybody and express yourself. But we don't make negative comments about one another, and we definitely don't curse at each other. And if you troll, you're out. This is my world, and I am God, and I will block you. Do I make an example of how the code looks like? Yeah, it's in the trailer, actually. You have it in the piece of paper in the beginning of the trailer. That is exactly why perplexed. Perplexed is saying magnetism is its connection to electricity and the creation of electromagnetic fields, which are foundational forces in nature. Magnetism and electricity are deeply intertwined. Well, they're one and the same. They're just protrusions of the same force. But yes, fascinating aspects of magnetism is its connection to electricity and the creation of electromagnetic fields, which are foundational forces in nature. Magnetism and electricity are deeply intertwined. Yeah. So the the most fundamental way of expressing it is that it's not that magnetism and electricity come together to create the electromagnetic field. Is that the electromagnetic field is one thing, and then magnetism and electricity are two different kinds of protrusions of the same orthogonal wave. Let's see. Let me put the website also if people want to visit. There we go. Let's go back to some of the comments. Oh, we went way up. Okay. Thank you, Borsche. I appreciate these comments. I'm trying to find a comment that I can take that seems to be. Oh, there was a comment that I wanted to talk about that somebody asked me about, and I forgot to talk about it. I think it was about the relationship, the dichotomy between love and knowledge. I said that in one of my deeper explorations, I saw this vision that it's almost like God is playing both games, in which one trying to understand why everything exists, and the other one is just being, or being in love forever. And it seems like on the surface of it, these are competing modalities, but I do think that ultimately the ultimate omega point is where they converge, where understanding something, knowledge, is actually love. It's loving it. It's, in fact, I forget who said it, but to love somebody is to understand them. And I think that's absolutely true. I think to love the world is to understand the world, which is knowledge. Thank you, Borge. Appreciate the support. I'd like to know what would happen. What? Zuckerberg will see the code. Love, 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 love back. Should read the book Love and Mathematics by Edward Frankel. We have it somewhere here. It felt like it was dragging a little bit. I mean, he's a brilliant human being, don't get me wrong, but the book felt like it was dragging a bit. D Blades, why would I block you? No, somebody on YouTube was literally just going haywire and like cursing at people and all of that stuff. That's the only thing. Even if somebody's going hardcore with me and disagreeing with me, I welcome that. It's when people start getting obnoxious and not contributing anything, that's the only reason I will block them. Because this chat is about enjoying ourselves and understanding and communicating. You can disagree all day. I love that. Yeah, I see we have a few people here. Amazing Gamalia. Amazing Amalia, sorry. It's my brain is tired. Okay. I've always felt lost in my life until they showed up. Now I know who I am and where I came from and what I'm supposed to do. I think fractals using substances is out of focus or further perception. It's the opposite because it gets way into focus. Amazing Amalia saying my friend who did the thing said it was all ones and zeros, like ticker tape stock market. So it does look like stock market, but it's not just zeros and ones. It looks more like Japanese katakana. You should look closer. Do the same, I think, with expose and not disrupt. Can you expand on that, Mr. Mac? All right. Well, okay, I see that I'm noticing by the speed with which my brain is now reading the comments. It's like I think I'm falling asleep in real time. So I think I'll leave it here. Thank you everybody for joining. We'll see everybody tomorrow. You can follow me across platforms. It's Danny Goller on TikTok and Instagram, Goller Danny on X, LaserX83 on Twitch, and Dango Thoughts on YouTube. DANGO Thoughts. I've also added a members program on YouTube, which will include private conversations with me on personal lives and also on Zoom. And I'm working on more things to put in there that will be worth people's time and money, and definitely always open for suggestions for these things. Aside from, of course, also content and materials that will not be available to the rest of the public. I want to see it. I want to try to make understand. Yeah, please, 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 love Whittles. Well, you also, I see that you became a member, so we'll definitely also chat on Zoom. And but you can always x@gmail.com. Please, 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 just email me, and we can always chat about it. That's my email that appears on the screen now. Good night, everybody. Thank you so much. I really appreciate everybody and the love and the peace in this chat, and hopefully we can promote more of that, including understanding, critical thinking through good communication. Communion. Peace and love, everybody. Ciao. If you can also like the live on YouTube and X and Twitch, I would appreciate it because it helps the algorithm. Good night, guys. Thank you so much for everything.